Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Big JB. Yes, indeed, it's another Morning Thunder. I have a lot on my mind this morning, and I've thought about lots of different topics. It's just been hard to pick one. Some of it is because I am concerned about offending people, which is weird. I should just give that up. So maybe I'll just dive into one of the one of the things and move on, and hopefully people find it interesting. So I will say this: if you are a Trump supporter, you should probably leave now, because I am not going to say some very kind things. I'm not going to say some very kind things. Yeah. I'm going to say some things that are kind of unkind. Now, this is not going to be a rant with swearing and a lot of the other stuff that you hear. One of the things that I'm wrestling with right now, just in my belief structure, is how to deal with the current political climate. I do not support President Trump. I do not like him. I don't like his policies. I don't like the Republicans that are in office right now, for the most part. I can't say that I don't like them all, because I don't know them all. But I think that what's happening politically in our country right now is a tragedy, and I think that it is a travesty as well against what this country stands for. And I think that there are a lot of things that warrant, that warrant his impeachment, frankly. I'm not a fan in any way, shape, or form. So how do I balance that with keeping a positive attitude, being hopeful, being a person of faith? How do I maintain that and believe that things are going to be okay eventually? For me, it feels like it's a really tough thing. I was talking with my oldest last night about it, and just wrestling with some of the beliefs that I have, and versus how I am currently feeling. Which is, an interesting dichotomy sometimes. I talked with a guy yesterday at church, actually, about some similar kinds of things. It wasn't political, but it had everything to do with faith. Excuse me while I get the eye boogies out. So here's what happened last night. So my wife and I, sorry while I adjust the camera. So here's what happened. Last night, my wife and I were watching Deep Space Nine. We've been working our way through. It's a very good series. I really enjoy it. It's the one Star Trek series that we haven't seen all the way through. We started, and we got quite a ways into it, but then I can't remember, got distracted by something else and didn't finish. So we started over. And so we're a ways into it. I want to say that we're in season 3, but I can't actually remember. But anyway, last night we watched a two-parter called Past Tense. Those of you who are Star Trek fans and know Deep Space Nine know the reference to that. So those of you who don't, let me do a somewhat brief recap. So of course there has to be some kind of time-space issue. And in this particular episode, there was an away team that was supposed to, well, it wasn't really an away team. It was a few of the officers were going to beam down to Earth, and there was some chronal displacement thing that happened, and they ended up in San Francisco in the year 2024. That year, there happened to be a riot in that universe. Obviously, it's not 2024 yet. I don't know why I'm clarifying. There was a riot that happened that made a difference in how San Francisco dealt with people. And in the episode, there were sanctuaries, and they were sanctuary cities that were essentially walled off, where they sent people who were more or less the undesirables of the society, people who were mentally ill or drug users or violent members of society, or people who just couldn't find a job. Sorry for all the camera bumping around here. And so they... So there was of course they had to deal with the whole timeline getting messed up thing, because there was a guy who helped to defend two of the characters, and in that process got killed. And so the commander of the space station, Cisco, took on basically that guy's name as an alias and helped to make sure that the riots happened. Part of the reason why that was important is because he protected hostages from being killed, which made a big difference in the outcome. So I'm doing a really quick summary, but it's basically a tragedy inside My hands were getting tired. Sorry, I had to adjust the camera. Um, so it was really sad inside the walls of the city. Really bad environment. It's very dystopian. I mean, as you would expect. And the government basically doing nothing. People who were intelligent and trained, who could do certain jobs, were just forgotten about, and people were tired of it, and it just got really bad. And toward the end of the episode, Dr. Bashir comes in to talk to Cisco, and says, "How could this happen? How could we let this happen?" And Cisco basically says, "I don't know. I don't have any answers. I wish I knew." And I looked at my wife and I said, "I'm betting that it had something to do with the 2016 elections." She goes, "Ooh." And if my son had been there, I'm sure he would have dabbed. Don't get me started on that. And it's interesting to me that I do sort of feel like that could happen in our current society. And I don't like it. And that's where I wrestle with, what can I do? And obviously I can share my opinion. I can obviously vote the way that I want to vote. And I can clearly take whatever action is appropriate within my city, and in sending, my message of my opinion of what's going on right now. But there are times when I definitely feel hopeless, and no, excuse me, not hopeless, helpless about what I can do. And I know that is a sentiment that's shared by a lot of people. And I think that there are other things that we can hope in. I think to put too much faith and too much hope and too much, I want to say salvation, in politics is the wrong place to put it, because politics isn't going to save us from ourselves. There's no way. But boy, I feel like we need some better leadership and some different leadership right now in our country. So I guess, I don't know that I have any words of advice or anything beyond just sharing that story, and hopefully you got a chuckle out of it. But I think that we have to be careful not to forget what kind of things have happened in the past, and what kind of things could happen if we're not paying attention and we're not active with our community and active in expressing, what we think. And I think that it's important to have a dialogue, and that's where it gets to be a problem, because we're not having dialogues in this country. We're having arguments, and we're becoming more and more divided, when really what needs to happen is we need to have a dialogue. We need to be able to talk with each other and ask questions and do information gathering rather than finger pointing, and not worry that, this person or whoever is, whether or not they're an idiot or whatever. It's a challenge sometimes, because there are people that we respect that we're like, really? For me personally, I know people that had voted for Trump, and I'm going to be honest, if you're watching, folks, I apologize that I had these thoughts, but I was like, really? How could you do that? And it really made me question not their sanity, but I'm I'm exaggerating obviously, but really made me raise my eyebrows, because there are a lot of things that I feel, as a person who believes in the Bible, that there are a lot of things that Trump and his crew think or do that are completely contrary to what I see in the Bible. Well, that's it. I'm sure that I have inflamed enough opinions and enough people, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope that you guys don't lose hope, don't lose faith. Focus on positive things and on what you can do, not on what you can't do, and have an awesome day. See you guys next time. Bye.